What is going on, Warriors? That is your boy Shin Ryu, and it is time for another Street Fighter Duel video. You guys already know what time it is. We're a day away from anniversary itself, and I'm sure you guys have pretty much collected all your gifts. If you guys haven't yet, I don't know how it works. If you kind of skip a day, if you just kind of miss that day, or you have to sort of get consecutive days, and it still remains for you. However, I don't think that's going to be the case because, as you can see here, it ends in 10 hours. But that's not why we're here for today. Typically, this was supposed to actually be a video where I was going to discuss my wish list, the important things that I sort of like would actually want for this upcoming update. It still sort of applies in a way, but it's a little bit it feels like it's going to feel a little bit underwhelming because first of all we kind of already have some expectation, some news to what to expect, but this could just be the general things to expect, and then there could be some stickers that kind of come up once anniversary starts, or precisely maybe that's actually part of what you should expect on the anniversary stuff itself. Okay, and I'm going to go into it deeply and quickly. Okay, so first of all, as you can see over here, the announcement has already been drafted for us to see, so that we can actually know what to expect tomorrow. They have actually snuck in Saikyo Dan as well, so we're expecting these Dan with the with the practice what I say practice boxing helmet, the helmet that you kind of see them wear in Olympics, where you just kind of like the safety helmet for your head, right? It looks like that's the Dan we're sort of expecting out there. All right, that I kind of like put on your screen there as well. And also, of course, we already know about Visconde Vega. We just didn't know the name yet, but as you can see, it's the double V. That's what I'm going to call him, double V, because this Visconde is still like a Visconde Vega. No problem. We're just going to call him double V right here, right now. Okay, so we're going to be expecting not just the character, but also his EX move as well. And then we're going to look at what else is coming up here. So let's just go through it at a glance. First things first, returning packages, Legendary Fighters Return Sale. I'm not really excited about that at all. Everyone knows what it was like the first time around, unless it's going to be a whole lot less cheaper, because remember what the original price was, and then it's kind of like put some additional price to it, and they call it a returning sale. So almost similar to half anniversary. Then we have the anniversary event itself. This is what my wish list is going to sort of like fall under, because the fact that it says anniversary event, I know this is obviously going to be whatever stuff that is going to come with it, but we don't know the full details of it yet. So I'm going to still talk about my wish list. There's going to be the lucky treasure hunt as well, incredible rewards, city pursuits as usual, trial of justice, FD battle is back. I do like though because I do have the rewards in it. That gives us a chance to do our A frags, draft day as well. And now of course we got draft mode again, and then we got paddle trials. All right, and that's pretty much all that they've got to put there for now. So that's about it. Obviously, if you read that at a glance, it seems quite underwhelming. The only key thing right now that kind of gives us a bit of a grace is what they consider the anniversary, event. However, there's nothing about maybe like some major updates or new modes or that kind of stuff, or at least nothing that kind of like has to do with like a refinement. But I don't ever remember in the past where, for example, when they added some of the new stuff, typically when they add some of the new stuffs, I can't remember if that was sort of like a prelude to the actual update itself, or after the update kind of popped out, they said this is what is new in the whatever, then they mentioned all this stuff there, and they kind of go in and you kind of see what it is. But we're going to just go right ahead and just try and delve into my wish list now that we actually addressed that update on the way. First of all, if we go over to this portion here, the account, and you try to look at whatever existing faces are out there, all right, in terms of like avatar and all that stuff, right? Since they've already announced, you know, I'm just going to call him, I don't want to call him a funny name. So I'm just going to look at it again. Saikyo Dan. Let's just call him Let's see if I can remember that name. Saikyo Dan. His face obviously is not here yet. You probably will add it once the update goes live. Right, so that's just one thing to expect there. So no avatar frame and all the other stuff there. The other thing as well is if you go here, obviously it's not been included right now in the gallery, so we can see that the gallery remains as it is. So we have no idea if it's going to be thunder, wind, flame, or any of the master / inferno characters, even maybe possible legendary as well. Right? It could be one of all those characters out there, but it hasn't been mentioned. That's what we should expect to see. So all you Dan fans out there that are willing to win to see Dan jump into the main stage and not use OG Dan, you guys are going to have your wish, and hopefully it's going to be effective in the game as well. But apart from that, now let's get into the other part of the video, which is going to be obviously my main wish lists. What I would actually wish probably want to come through, whatever it is, but I'm just going to just go through it and all that kind of stuff, right? The first thing I need to look at is we're going to just go right ahead and just look at progress start here. Okay, so I have to pick that one up. So now we're going to just address that in a few moments here. All right, so for wish list number one here, sorry for any noise. I had to adjust my mic, so if there's any rumbling there, apologies for that. You guys already know what it is. I've been talking about this for a long time. The first thing I actually want to just say is that actually want fashion reels to actually pop in along with the anniversary. Not only that, I actually want him to sort of like launch a new style of summoning, something that is not really crazy or expensive. If I want to be more precise, he becomes the first one that kind of launches where he can sort of pick up fragments rather than just fragments, and then you can actually use those fragments to eventually obviously form the character. And of course other existing characters can get their fragments converted if you have, or you can break down, for example, like let me go ahead and illustrate further. So for example, looking at all these characters who are accessed in Wishlist as well, you can actually break this down into fragments that can also use to add to your summons or whatever. Just something in that regard. I can't be too specific as to how to want to run it, but just a new sort of like launch that wouldn't necessarily mean that they have to be in a special, special character, but they will still have like the EX lineup because they're actually special characters. Okay, I actually want to have a fashion reader that actually owns an EX move. That is one of my primary wish lists there. Every one of you probably have a specific character you care about or something like that, but that is one thing that I actually want to just wish for. Okay, the second one I actually want to talk about here. This one is obviously the first one is a bit of like a personal, like almost like a tease in a way, but the rest of them are sort of like super important. First of all, we have, just going back to these excess cards that we have here. If you go to your lineup here, you're going to see excess cards lining up, cards that no longer need for summoning, or rather for awakening. And you're not having problems where if you're actually trying to collect more cards, you run out of spaces. You actually have to use it up compulsorily. You have to keep on you know figuring out who you want to like get a double character of. For example, you see now we can easily make a second copy of able to get to like S plus because we have two copies of this and can mix them with anybody else. But things like that, we want to make sure that these cards now become actually useful. So suggestion I'm going to make with regards to it being useful is going to be this. Okay, first of all, let's look at someone like Summer Elena. Okay, typically if you're going to combine someone like Chun-Li here, you need two um of these characters. How about if you're going to do it a special character, because I know that they want to use it to actually make money. They want to use it to make money instead of actually requiring, maybe for example, this character to combine with, like, say only her, or even to be cheap, say. And I don't want to be cheap, I want to actually even be reasonable for the dev because I know they want to make their cash. So say they only need to combine them with, say for example, three A plus characters. So for example, like a special character right now would need three A plus characters, and this, they can also make it only applicable to wind, thunder, and flame faction based characters. Because even if you have someone, for example, that is in the Master Inferno. Master Inferno characters is tough to, want to just waste them and use them for food because they're not going to have regular fragments for food. All right, we're going to have the ones that actually do matter, and so you don't want to use any of them for food. You're just going to want to either stop and pause in your progress, or you want to actually go all out and complete that progress and go on to the next one. And when you actually have high so far, it's someone that you want to keep on pushing forward. But what I want to suggest is, in the case of this right now, maybe we have her instead, right? We can actually combine with two S plus. That is a lot because S plus means you're talking about, four A pluses, but it should be worth it if at least we can still use it up, that means we can now strategize how we want to actually start making up these excess characters, because you're going to run out of them quickly, and then you're not going to have any space again, and you might still have to do some regular summons. You're also going to be tempted to actually do a regular summon as well, because you're either close and you just need a few more pushes, and you want to go around and do the regular summons. So it would not be a bad idea if you actually decide to use characters like her or him and combine them with S pluses of regular characters of the same faction. That would actually be nice. Okay. That's the first one that I actually want to do out there. That will be one easy solution as to how we can actually make use of this excess cards that we have building up here across the board. Okay. The second one I actually want to mention as well, or let's say the third one, because the first one obviously was Fashion Ryu. The third one is to have like a new game mode, something like where you actually have an actual. So we have this guild, whatever, right? It's time to make the guild have an extra sort of value. We have this guild right now where you just kind of face this crusade here, but what you guys are doing, what we're doing here is we're competing against ourselves to actually get a high score, right? What I'm looking for in now is for us to actually have a boss that is actually defeatable, and when you defeat the boss, you actually now get nice reward. Maybe for example, that could be another way to actually unleash how you unlock Fashion Ryu, for example. A guild members, based on your hierarchy in damage that you deal, will start to win certain amount of fragments, that you would typically use to now actually build up a character. So it could be, for example, Fashion Ryu launches that. There's a Fashion Ryu boss you have to face, and when you defeat the boss, you get the fragments. And this boss maybe comes, maybe for example, how frequent, let's say they actually come in the same rate as the likes of Sierra and the other bosses out there. For example, you have 2 days to defeat the boss. Another one comes, maybe there's a cycle between Fashion Ryu or Fashion Bison, and or it could just be the two of them. Fashion Ryu, Fashion Bison. Is there any other fashion character that hasn't been released yet? That is actually quite important. Is a way to go and figure that out is look at the street art. Let's see, is there any other person that I would think is worthy of being added to the list? It could actually just be a rotation between Fashion Ryu and Fashion Bison as well. Because those are the only two fashion characters who are left. If you look at it, the only two fashion characters that are left are Ryu and Bison. So they could actually be the new bosses that would just kind of face based on how you rank on the hierarchy. That would actually also increase and make people want to improve on their high scores to actually want to, even for the whales, right? Obviously the whales will get them first. Hopefully the whales, after they get them, they can sort of ease up on the high score and let the others kind of like get high on the rank, so they can also pick things up as well. But bottom line is that you have them alternate. For example, how Sierra and the like alternate. It's Fashion Ryu, one first 2 days, then Fashion Bison the next 2 days, then Fashion Ryu the next 2 days again, and they kind of alternate. Or it could actually even be that everybody, as long as you defeat the boss, everybody gets equal fragments of the character, but the characters that we have to defeat the boss. So for obviously that'll be a big hit on factions on guilds that don't actually that are not really active, but also that would also mean that people who are in inactive guilds can move on to more active guilds, and obviously get their own contributions and need to actually give great value to guilds. 'Cause right now all guilds is for you know besides FG battle. It's just for people to just compete among themselves in terms of high score. I'm pretty sure not everyone is concerned by it, because there are the whales who definitely dominate the top, and then the rest of us are just out there, just being out there. So that's one thing I want to say as well. Just like how easiest way to actually describe, again, because I want to elaborate on this stuff, is when you look at the boss rush, right? You see how we have Akuma here right now as the boss himself. We should get actual prizes where if you defeat the boss is actually defeatable. Okay, but it's going to take a lot of contribution. So for example, um if a person is fighting the boss right now, maybe somebody else can't go in until the person is pretty much done. They've done damage, and then, or they have a way of distributing damage across the board, right? What will happen pretty much is either they want to use a score to actually, for example, maybe the boss has a total of 10 million health, and then based on each person's contribution or damage against the health. As long as we all contribute 10 million damage on that health, lineup, then we get equal fragments. Say for example, 10, whatever the amount of fragment it is. Obviously we know how the fragment works if we look at our stagnating Goma Galakan here, right? For you to get one particular frag, you need 60. So maybe for each whatever, you get maybe like 15 or 20, fragments for every member that contributed on that day to the damage of Fashion Ryu or Fashion Bison. That would just be that would kill two birds with one stone. It's a new mode that they brought in where we all face bosses. Everyone's looking forward to contributing that particular guild. More importantly, the reward is actually amazing, right? You can now decide how you want to, rank the damage dealt. For example, those who deal with high damage can maybe have a few more, tokens or a few more gems or whatever, just whatever, but everybody gets equal amount of fragments of the character that's being faced just by participating. They make them kind of special, or it could also be that the rank could be based on EX moves. Could be the EX move could be fragment that will be dialed down based on your rank. So if the highest person gets the highest amount of EX moves that contribute to unlocking that EX move, and the lowest person gets the least amount. No, or not necessarily lowest. Maybe the top three, top five, and then six to the rest just kind of get even amount. Or maybe top base 1 to 3 gets this bracket of EX moves. 4 to 7 or whatever gets this bracket, and then you know how it is. Just kind of drop it down, and in that way, it's just new. It is amazing, it's refreshing, and it's definitely going to get people to be eager to keep coming and also be eager about their guilds as well. Guilds become important all of a sudden because right now all guild is important about is effigy. And honestly, there are some people who are enough to carry an effigy guild that the others might not care about contributing so much. So let's add that in there as a mode. That revives my Fashion Ryu, whatever. That actually, I thought about that on the fly. I just knew that there should be some modes, but it's actually a genuine mode that can actually be put in there when it comes to facing the bosses. So that actually is my third, what do you call it? My third wish list there. The fourth one is, I've talked about this for a long time. Okay, it has to do it has to do with the existing B frag units. So look at that. I'm now on that too much whatever popping up here right now, so I'm just gonna go right ahead and just clear it. We're on that train right now, right? But now the fourth wish is about the existing B units who can max out triple S. It's time for us to unleash that triple S whatever, right? Let everyone be able to have triple S. Let's start using OG Ryu, OG Ken, Sakura, and all the other likes, and now have them, after they suffer so long as minor characters, actually become viable characters, can actually compete and are in the current meta of things. For example, in other words, they're actually useful to use. Okay, that's what I actually want for as my fourth list as well. And then for the last one, okay, whoever is going to be the legendary character needs to be free again. Okay, we had Fashion Blanca, who was a free legendary character. Yeah, sure, the devs were like, wow, this guy is actually much better than we expected, and we didn't expect this guy to have a backlash against us where a lot of people will not really care about other legendary characters, but people are purchasing legendary characters, as you can see across the board. Some obviously are being valued over others because legendary characters are pretty much used as characters that you want to add on for additional boosts. So they've ended up becoming boss-like characters that are extremely useful for boss battles. We do need a new free character for free play players, so that all we have to do is, if we want to participate, if, for example, if we have 2 free legendary characters, when it comes to Supreme Fist, it is going to be easy for people to decide, you know what, we have discount based legendary characters coming. Maybe we just want to sacrifice and pay for at least one more so we can fulfill the criteria of owning 3 legendary fighters and participating in the legendary temple itself, because we'll probably think the rewards in there are also amazing as well. So it will be a nice, tempting, or regard. Obviously, it's something that should be out there since maybe the devs would watch this video and then think, oh, you know what, this is actually not a bad idea at all. It may help us exploit this and maybe they can put it to practice. But I like to put this thing a day before so that at least it's more or less like I have no knowledge of it. It doesn't feel like something I have an idea of. I'm talking out of the right off the bat, and I'm hoping that's what I actually see. Okay, maybe I'm going to start making these videos a lot earlier in the future, so hopefully it can also be a video that we can use to sort of tempt, because we know that we may not have influences, but it's definitely could make them reevaluate their ideas on certain stuffs when we actually post this sort of thing. Okay, and so those are the 5 wishes I have there. My special, let's say, my, special mention in terms of wish would just be, you know, I don't really care much about this really, but I think it's actually important because it would definitely help with going through the major challenges, but it also is going to be another way of trying to figure out who you want to prioritize your soul power on. And I already mentioned the name soul power. It's going to be more or less about soul power, it becoming available to every single character across the board. So, for example, like a Fashion Black can eventually get the soul power. Likes of Gal, who can be huge damage dealers and all that kind of stuff, can get soul power and become more powerful units than they currently are. That would just be the last thing I'll add there as a special mention. Otherwise, the key mention once again is Fashion Ryu. Come on, boy. Let's have you on anniversary and let's have you launch a new style of being summoned. And that new style is linked to my third, wish list, which is pretty much a new boss battle where you can actually defeat the boss and get nice rewards. The rewards could actually be fragments of Fashion Ryu or Fashion Bison, depending on who you're facing on the battle situation. You get the rewards for it. Or if, for example, you're beating Bison, you get Ryu. You beat Ryu, you beat Bison. Because they are obviously the at opposite ends in the actual Street Fighter verse, right? Bison trying to take over Ryu's body, and of course Ryu trying to let good prevail over evil. And of course, number two there is the excess cards, being able to use it as to summon special characters. In this case, right now, we're talking about using S plus characters and all that kind of stuff. Then, of course, we have the fourth one there, which is like the B team becoming A team and S teams and all that kind of stuff. And of course, then we have the last one I mentioned, free legendary characters. Let me know what you guys think about my wish list there as we approach tomorrow's launch day and everything. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, subscribe on the video if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.